Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. Twitch.tv/virtual autosports. Great to have you here on a Tuesday evening, or again, if it's a Wednesday morning for you. Either way, thank you very much for being here, tuned in, and ready for some racing. It's going to be an exciting one. We had a beautiful, fantastic, awesome, amazing, exciting week number one here in the RS 500s. That'll carry on into this week. Week number two being out there at the Homestead Road Circuit alternate track, and we've got a little bit of precipitation to deal with here today before we head out to the Bernese Alps Club Circuit a little bit later on in the evening. Week number three is coming up a week from tonight, same bat time, same bat channel, 8 p.m. Eastern, before we take a little bit of a hiatus, enjoy the holidays, and then come back in 2020. January 7th to be specific, and I'm reading this all off while I've got a schedule that I can put up in front of your faces. There you go. January 7th, we'll head out to Maple Valley, the full circuit, for 19 laps before Sebring Short, which we return to after having raced out there in race number one. And then you notice there the moon. That'll be under the lights, although out there at Sebring, there's not a whole heck of a lot of lighting. It's pretty pitch dark out there at the Sebring Circuit in Florida. And then you see there on week 5, January 14th, a whopping 76 laps around the Silverstone National Circuit in these cars. That's going to be a beaut. So do not miss a minute of the action here. We'll be covering it from start to finish, all 5 weeks, Virtual Autosports live on Twitch TV. I'm Dustin Moore, and excited to be here. This is an exciting week in gaming. We've had a lot go on already, and we'll get to the standings here in just a little bit for those of you that are thinking, gosh, what did I miss in week number one? We'll get to those in just a second, but a lot of great stuff happening here. The second full week of December 2019 before we roll into the Christmas holiday about 2 weeks from now. We've got Forza Monthly that's happening over on the Forza Motorsport channel tomorrow. That's Wednesday, and I believe that's 11 a.m. Pacific time, if I remember correctly. 11 a.m. Pacific time. That puts it at about 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, if I've got all the times sorted out there. Forza Monthly, it's a curious one because, one, we're not going to have the update, the Horizon update. That won't be happening until Friday. They've pushed that off till Friday. Forza Monthly seems to be a standalone, perhaps focused on the next Forza Motorsport title. We don't know. We know that Halo obviously has been announced. Halo Infinite, that'll be coming out with the new Xbox platform next holiday season. Perhaps this is Turn 10 Studios, their opportunity or their chance to say, hey, coming holiday 2020, here's the next Forza title. Maybe. We'll see. Who knows? And then, of course, who's going to be hosting that one? Because, unfortunately, here this past Friday, or fortunately, depending on how you're looking at it, because Brian obviously is pursuing his next best opportunity in the world of gaming. I believe he has already alluded to the fact that he'll be in gaming before fully announcing his next venture in January. But his departure leaves the question of who will be stepping into the role of hosting the Forza Monthly show. And again, that's tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So catch that. Don't miss the Horizon update there on Friday because undoubtedly, or I would suspect, we're going to hear a little bit more about the Toyota partnership between Turn 10 Studios and Toyota, which has reemerged or resurfaced after a little bit of a hiatus there, thanks to Toyota deciding at some point that, we're going to just go ahead and give our brand, our license over to the Polyphony Digital team and let them play around with it. Well, Toyota's back, coming to Horizon 4 here in the not-too-distant future. So that'll be exciting. And then the Video Game Awards happening on Thursday, which usually, for us racing fans, those of you that are just very much gear head focused as opposed to other parts of the gaming world, maybe not so much of a big deal. We're not anticipating that there's going to be a lot mentioned in the world of racing games at the Game Awards, but there will be some mentions and apparently quite a handful of announcements as well. And that's on Thursday. Check your local listings for the time there, as I don't I don't necessarily have those, but definitely looking forward to that. But here I am talking about the future. What do we have going on here tonight? The very near future, as in the next 9 minutes. Well, we've got week number 2, season 31 of the Forza Spec Racing Series in the RS 500 Cosworth Ford Sierra. A700 is the performance index, 363 horsepower, 299 foot-pounds of torque, 2,367 pounds curb weight. The car is still in its rear-wheel drive configuration. It's still sporting that YBD motor underneath the hood up there in the front. Just boost it up a little bit, and we'll talk about those upgrades here in a little while. But there you go, the Alien Motorsport team. Look at this change of pace here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. AMS top in the leaderboard there with both Huracan and Storm 1919, 97 and 93 points respectively. Right there on the heels is Crimson with 92. Mesosphere, who has announced over in the Discord that he's not looking to race here tonight. He's going to take this evening off. 81 points. Fortunately, because of the drop week, Mesosphere can do that without entirely losing sight of the championship. Obviously, once you voluntarily drop a week, that means you've got to be on point for the next 3. And so we'll see if Mesosphere comes back here in week number 3 and makes that happen. With Cratering behind him, Foontang, Blister Gypsy, LSEM, Chaos Fox there in 8th position, looking to move up a couple spots there on the left-hand side. Then you see Barf Monkey, T-Phrase, Celtic Warrior, Fear the Fun, Slow Motion Fire, Lucas, Joe Beardy. I don't know what to say except for I'm a little bit surprised to see Joe so far down the list. Can Joe turn it around here tonight? We're going to have to find out. Don't let that name go past you, and don't forget it, because I suspect we're going to see him up in the top 10, at least out on the track here tonight. Iceman Misfit in 16th, Born as Ghost in 17th. Born as Ghost, if I do remember correctly, got in on the last race and wasn't able to race in both events there in week number 1. So to get 30 points, still quite good. Ronan at 25, Skier Kid at 25, and Autobahn in 20th place with 20 points. So there you go. There's a look at the top 20 in the league so far, in the series so far. Of course, like I just mentioned, things change. The dynamic of the season meanders, and it's very fluid. Once you get those drop weeks out of the way, or at least once you start establishing which weeks look like they're going to be drop weeks for the racers. Of course, we'll never know until we get to that final week, really, where everybody slots in on these final standings and how they're going to fare in terms of their points. Because that final week, that 5th week, with it being a one-race 76-lapper around Silverstone, that counts as double the points because it is just one race, and that very well may be some drivers, their drop week. So it's really exciting stuff. We had a fantastic season there in season 30 with Mesosphere winning out in that 2005 ACR Dodge Neon SRT4. But what's going to happen here? Is the AMS squad going to dethrone him? Is Crimson or Cratrim going to make a run at it after those guys having such strong performances last season, just unable to best Mesosphere that entire season number 31? All the questions are out there right now. We wiped the slate clean, and all these points just now coming in as of a week ago, and we'll carry on things here tonight. Looking over at the chat, we've got THR Flip Mode again. I mentioned him during the countdown. Good to see you. Thank you very much for tuning in there. Flip Mode. Mesosphere is in there again. He's not going to be racing here tonight, so he'll be watching from the grandstands. Slow Motion Fire, who's our race organizer here in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Always good to see him in the chat as well. If you're watching, and perhaps you're just thinking about just hanging low and sitting back and not necessarily typing much, at least say hi there in the chat. That way I can acknowledge you, and thank you for being here. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but it's always great when I can engage with you all, the viewers, and especially once we get into the races. Let me know what you think. Who's looking strong out there? What are your predictions on who's going to win the race? What are your predictions at this point in the season on who's going to win the championship? And the beautiful thing here about the Forza Spec Racing Series, yeah, you get the bragging rights, which is pretty commonplace for community-based racing leagues. There's not a lot that a lot of the leagues can offer you, those community ones. But What's a little bit extra here in FM4 is that heading into Season 32, if you are crowned the champion here in Season 31, well, you get to pick the car for the next season, which is always a fun time. You can decide what everybody's going to be driving in the next season for all 5 weeks. AMS Storm is here. Good to see you. THR Wild Win 7 is here as well. Good to see you here. I hope you guys are picking some names off the leaderboard that you see here, and you're going to root for those drivers throughout the rest of the season. Or maybe once we pull up the lobby here shortly, as we get ready to go qualifying in the next 4 or 3.5 minutes, maybe you find somebody who's there in the lobby and you root for them. And as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and switch on over there. That way you can see who we have in the lobby. I'm going to take a look myself because I just skimmed it a little bit ago, but it looks like it has changed. 19 drivers on the grid currently. Hopefully we'll get a couple of more. Cratrium, T-Phrase, Fear the Fun, LSEM, Chaos Fox. Chaos Fox, I think unless I'm misremembering here or I'm not remembering correctly, I think Chaos Fox was like, you know what, I'm going to step away from Forza a little bit, and then here's Chaos Fox out on the grid, ready to do some racing. Finding himself currently 8th overall on the leaderboard. Crimson Funtang with that snazzy Turn 10 logo next to his name. CMD Slipstream. And then you see DOR Nomad. We haven't seen Nomad here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, at least in the time that I've been broadcasting it. So good to see Nomad out here on the track. There's Huracan, Joe Beardy. Again, that's the name I'm telling you to watch out for. Look out for Joe. Born as Ghost, Celtic Warrior, AMS Storm, Modern Weapon, Weiss Lancelot, Lucas, Audrex, IPR, Wolf. Good to see Wolf here as well. AMS Huracan saying he's going to be lurking. Good deal, good deal. Is this car front-wheel drive, says Inertia Blouse. Actually, no, this is the rear-wheel drive as it comes off the showroom floor. The Ford Sierra RS 500, 363 horsepower. That's up from the 206 that YBD motor originally came in. Actually, I checked that. 224 horsepower that the original YBD motor had. Bumped that up to 363. It initially had 206 foot-pounds of torque. That's where the 206 comes from. Now it has 299, and then it's dropped a couple, from 2,700 down to 2,300 in terms of weight. Close to about 300 pounds of weight coming off the car there. And 51% weight distribution with that 1% bias toward the front. So a pretty balanced car, although a lot of the drivers telling us very tricky, a very difficult one to maneuver and deal with out here on the track. And as I take a look at the queue for interview section, no drivers in there right now. We'll go ahead and take the intermission between qualifying and the race to talk to some of our drivers, see if maybe they changed anything in between Week 1 and now Week 2. I saw some of the folks out there doing some practice laps prior to this race because, yes, as you can see, the rain is falling out here at Homestead, Miami. We're heading out to the road circuit and the alternate version at that, which means coming out of the oval turns 3 and 4 back toward the start-finish line. For some of the drivers, maybe they're a little bit excited about that because you're able to get the car up to speed versus staying on the infield. We'll see how that fares for some of the folks. And then the Bernese Alps Club Circuit heading out to that fictional track here in Forza Motorsport 7 for the first time, again, since I've been broadcasting this series, although they've been going for quite some time. So they may very well, and I would almost bet that they've been out to that track once or twice before. Huracan saying, Storm, you going to get pole, yeah? Going to go for that pole, get the AMS guys out there front. Before we head out to qualifying, again, there's a look at the leaderboard. Heading into things tonight, and again, take it for what you will, a little bit of grain of salt because things may definitely change as we head throughout the season with that drop rule in effect. All right, all the drivers are readying up. Again, we've got 19 out there on the grid here tonight, so almost a full grid, almost. We fell 3 shy. 4 shy. Take that back. 4 shy. All right. So everybody's getting ready to go. Pardon me as I fix something here that I noticed is a little wonky on the stream. Go. All righty. I'm excited. I'm pumped. The fact that we don't have Mesosphere here tonight, it's going to be interesting to see who maybe steps into his place, into his shoes, if you will. out here on the track and occupies maybe that second and third position, giving the pole sitter or the lead car hell all throughout the race. Mesosphere has been relentless here in FM4 over the last, even dating before season 30. So I would say maybe the last 7 to 8 weeks. THR Wild Wind saying maybe I should get back into league racing. Good to see you out here. THR Flip Mode saying let's go, let's do it. All right, there we go. Slow Motion Fire giving us the word in the chat saying everything is getting underway. We see the countdown up at the top. Qualifying 3 laps around this 2.28 mile Homestead Road alternate circuit in the rain. And yes, things will be a bit soupy during the race itself. It'll start out with a little bit of mist. I think there's a chance for moderate rain during the midpoint of the race, finishing things out with some fog. So it's definitely going to be a very damp and dreary looking day out here in Miami. And there we go. Funtang is going to be the one off the line first. And again, we're in qualifying here. 3 laps. So you got the first lap, which is a standing start, the out lap, before you get the 2 flying laps, trying to set your best time. The fastest dirty lap will always be slower than the slowest clean lap. What does that translate into? Simply, you want to post a clean time. The clean times will always be better, faster than the dirty laps, as we see Funtang going through the midpoint here of the infield section. I believe this is going to be turn number 6. You hang a right here, and then you go down this next long straightaway before you come back out onto the oval, start heading back toward turn 3 and 4 of the oval itself, and then to the start-finish line. Big J Bishop, Fear the Fun, saying the PC ate it. He's joining back in. So in that instance, what happens is Big J Bishop or Fear the Fun, he's going to be at the back of the pack following qualifying. He's going to have to be a hard charger here in the race itself, as we see Funtang now entering turn 3 of the oval into 4. And look at that, they've got the blimp in the sky despite the weather. And across the line, there goes Funtang. And, well, I guess we're not going to get a time. Born as Ghost with a 1:28.7. Not entirely sure why Funtang hasn't triggered a time. That's weird. That's a first. Weiss Lancelot there with a 1:28.3. And actually, it looks like maybe the organizers have done something differently with regards to the qualifying. So we're not going to see the top time unless I jump to the front, which currently it's AMS Storm 1919, who has posted a, well, I can't see it, turn 10 because it just says leader. So let's drop back to Huracan, who has a 1:25.6. And actually, if I do that real quick, 1:25.2 for, well, make that Cratrium now, who's jumped up to the top spot. AMS Storm with a 1:25.3. And qualifying here in the rain as well. So the organizers could have very well had said, yeah, we'll let you guys qualify in the dry, but they've got the setup, or I suspect maybe some of the drivers have a setup for the wet, and therefore that's what they're going to qualify in here. One really interesting thing, and this is going into next week, we've got Road Atlanta, the full circuit, 21 laps around that track for race number 1 of week 3. Then race 2 of week 3 will be out at the Indianapolis Brickyard, the oval circuit. So not the road GP track, no. The 32 laps around the Brickyard Speedway here in the RS 500. So maybe at the end of tonight's broadcast, we'll talk to some of the drivers and get some thoughts on what their preparations are going to look like heading out to that oval, because you have to believe that changes the setup of these cars dramatically, giving those gears a little bit more legs to run. And taking a look here at the leaderboard, 1:22.4 for Huracan, Cratrin with a 122.8. Storm 123.0. IPR Wolf with a 123.2. Audrex, Born as Ghost, DOR Nomad, Slipstream, T-Phrase, Funtang, Slow, Lucas, Joe, Crimson, Chaos Fox, Presto, Celtic, Modern Weapon, Weiss Lancelot, and then, again, Fear the Fun, who fell out of the lobby. We'll have to catch him here at the tail end of the pack for the start of the race. What's up, Butler? Good to see you. Long time. Flying Evo is here as well. Ben McKenna. Thank y'all for showing up. Much appreciated. And a happy holiday season to you as we get closer and closer to Christmas and then the new year and 2020. 2020 is looking like something exciting. It really is. The release of the Scarlet platform, whatever that is ultimately going to be titled. PlayStation rolls out. For us PC gamers, that just means more titles that are expected to drop. Specifically, or hopefully, the Forza franchise. See a title in 2020 after the Motorsport iteration dropped out of its 2-year cycle. And let's go ahead and take a look at the final standings here. We'll have to look at those best laps. Don't pay no mind to the position there on the left-hand side. Funtang with a 124.1, 123.5 for Born as Ghost, a 22.4 for Crimson, 24.5 for Chaos Fox, Presto at a 125.8, Nomad 123.6, Weiss Lancelot at a 125.6, Audrex 123.3, Huracan at a 122.2. That'll put Huracan on the pole position, at least tentatively, until I can find maybe another time that's faster. As I scroll through, I don't see one. 124.1 for T-Phrase, 122.6 for Storm, Lucas at a 124.5, Wolf at a 123.2, Slipstream 123.7, Modern 126.1. Slow with a 124.4, Cratrim 122.8. I think that's going to put Cratrim either second or third. 124.6. That should be third, I think, there for Cratrim. Joe Beardy and Celtic Warrior. And actually, 122.4 will put Cratrim fourth, back there on row number 2. All right. We'll let the organizers go ahead and get everything sorted here on the grid before we get ready, rolling for the action here today. Folks, a little reminder, family friendly here in the chat, please. I appreciate it. Just trying to keep things friendly in here. We want viewers of all ages and backgrounds and all that to enjoy their time. I can certainly appreciate a swear word every now and again, but for the purposes of our broadcast, let's try to keep it family friendly. Let's see who else is in there. Crimson, Crimson's here. Chaos Weave RO3. Please mess up so I can do good. I love it. I love the banter of the drivers between the race here, and as I take a look at the, oh my gosh, nobody in the Discord is in that queue for interview. Drivers, go to that queue for interview section. Let's have a word with you before we get going out here on the track for, what is it again? It's 21 laps here around the Homestead Road Circuit. And it's the alternate version at that, which again means that we spend a little bit less time on the infield with the final few corners coming out of turn 3 and 4 on the oval. So, again, head on over to that queue for interview section in the FM4 Discord. That way we can have a chat with you. And for everybody else, sure, it's a little bit too late for you to get in on the action here tonight and to be in the running for the championship. But still, join the FM4 crew in the next 3 weeks. Granted, we're going to take a little bit of a break, but maybe next Tuesday for week 3. And then week 4 there on January 7th, week 5 on the 14th. Get some familiarity with some of these drivers out here on the track. Put in some stick time with the FM4 team, and then get yourself ready for season number 32. The link there posted by Nightbot, reddit.com/r/FM4, and we'll go ahead and flip on over to those standings once again. Flying Evo in the chat saying, I hope this rain doesn't mess up my consistency. It's the most dangerous thing ever when the only runoff you have isn't even asphalt. It's just that darn grass that pulls you in. The grass is, it's not as sticky as in past Forza games, but it definitely takes a lot of effort to get out of the grass once you've gotten into it. And especially there into turn 1, coming into the infield, we've seen in a lot of races here on Virtual Auto Sports, drivers flying off that corner into the grass, and then you don't have barrier for what seems to be miles, and as such, you got to point the car in the right direction, and especially here in the wet, you're just going to be spinning tires out there the whole time. Fear the Fun has jumped back into the lobby. Good to see him out there. Nobody's going to that queue for it. I don't know that we've ever had this before with the Forza Spec Racing Series, where before the first race, nobody's jumped into the interview, the driver's spotlight. That's okay. We'll get you guys after the race. We got to get somebody in here, though. Build your brand. We got a little bit of an audience here tonight. Get some practice in on the mic outside of the Discord channel with all the racers. Get a little bit of I don't want to say camera time because we can't put a camera on you, but at least give yourself a chance to hop out in front of everybody else and have a word and give us your thoughts on what's going on here in FM4. Week number 2, season 31. Flying Evo. There's not even gravel to stop you. If you're in the grass, you're basically out if you're on that wall. And Flying Evo is Lucas, if I remember correctly. Lucas in the lobby. So when you're looking for him out there on the track, that's the one that you'll be wanting to pinpoint. All right, let me go ahead and make sure, because I almost goofed this up last time, but let me make sure we've got that instant replay, that beautiful Virtual Auto Sports instant replay ready to go. And there, actually, I goofed it up again. OBS moved a few things around here, I think. Maybe I'm blaming OBS when it's really my fault, but let me make sure. Yes, okay, everything's good. Awesome. Taking a look here, Schlossy, thank you very much for that follow. Chaos Weave, appreciate the follow, and here we go. Slow Motion Fire telling us that we're going to get underway here for race number 1 tonight. It's actually race 3 in total for the season. Here in the RS 500, that Sierra Cosworth from 1987. Again, as you see there, the performance index on all these cars, A700, 363 horsepower to the rear wheels, 299 foot-pounds of torque. AMS Storm saying we need a good start here. Storm on row number 2, sharing that space with Craytrim. It's going to be Huracan and Crimson, 1 and 2, respectively. Any moment now. There we go. We see the countdown at the top. Sholesi. or Schlossy. Sholesi. My apologies. All right, here we go. And the new rule in effect, too, that the pole sitter gets to dictate the start of the race, and there we already see one driver, Presto Esbesto, has jumped into hyperdrive, and it looks like they're going to let him just go ahead and circle on back to where he belongs. And so while that happens, we'll hang tight here. Look at the fans who are braving the rain here out at Homestead, Miami. Ben McKenna. Sholesi? It's not Sholesi? Oh, man. All right, you're going to have to give me the breakdown there. And here we go. Kick the tires and light the fires. Week number 2, season 31 of the Forza Spec Racing Series is underway here at Homestead, Miami. It's going to be Huracan leading them out of turn number 1, followed by Crimson. Back behind Crimson, it's Cratrium, AMS Storm, Audrex, Born as Ghost, Slipstream, T-Phrase, Nomad, and Wolf, rounding out the top 10. Into the infield they go out of turn number 4, up here to the right-hander. Got to hit the brakes quite hard as you get ready to enter that one, and there you go. Hug it tight to the inside. Up onto the curbing goes Huracan, and then right out to the outside. You got a little bit of runoff there with the curbing, and here they come onto the second infield straightaway before they bring it back out onto the oval for the conclusion of lap number 1. Huracan with a good, half a car lead there on Crimson. Crimson's going to look to the outside. No opportunity there. And here they are out on the back straightaway. You see the palm trees. You know you're in Florida at that point. And of course, with the rain falling, you kind of know you're in Florida as well. And we already got some separation here. Huracan, Crimson, Cratrium, Storm, and Audrex are top 5. Let's go back to DOR Nomad, who's there in 7th position, trying to make a run on Funtang. And let's get a little bit of a better view here as we ride on board with Nomad. Nomad's going to look to the inside here through turn number 1. Daring move. And you got to be careful. You don't want to push your opponent out wide. And there goes Nomad out wide onto the runoff area. And it is a little bit slick. Getting onto the accelerator is going to bring that car a little bit sideways. You see the end kick out. And here comes now Born as Ghost and Funtang side by side with Nomad up to 6th position. Back behind them, Born as Ghost, as I just mentioned, in 8th. T-Phrase is up to 9th. Wolf in 10th. Chaos Fox in 11th. Celtic Warrior in 12th. Slipstream in 13th. Joe Beardy in 14th. We'll look a little bit further back here in a while, but let's go up to 4th position now with AMS Storm. And there we go with Crimson out ahead. Huracan, that lead looks to be waning ever so slightly. Skolsey. Skolsey. I don't know. I'm butchering it. My apologies. And here they come back out onto the oval across the start-finish line. Beginning of lap number 3. It is 21 laps. That final lap there in the upper right-hand quarter for lap 22. That'll be a cool-down lap, and there goes Huracan running wide. There goes Crimson around him. And Storm as well, now up to 2nd. I was going to say not entirely sure what happened to Huracan, but I think it's clear. Just a little bit of late braking there into 1. Check that. That'll be turn 2 there. And now Huracan drops back to 3rd. Cratrium now into 4th position. And there goes Huracan sliding it out once again. We heard these RS500s from some of the drivers last week. A tricky car to manage, and probably especially so here in the rain, as Cratrium trying to make a move on Huracan. Huracan's going to be the inside. Not going to allow it to happen there as they do, look like maybe Cratrium is going to try a little bit of a switcheroo. Not going to be able to do it as Huracan is back up to pace. Watch me dive you, turn 2, says Ben McKenna. Signed AMS Huracan. As we go and take a look at that Virtual Auto Sports instant replay. Cratrium keep it right there on the heels. Back behind Cratrium, it's Audrex in 5th. DOR Nomad in 6th. Funtang in 7th. Born as Ghost is 8th. T-Phrase and Slipstream are now 9 and 10. A little bit of a dramatic shot there as Cratrium looked like he was coming into that corner a little bit hot, but able to get the brakes to keep them wheels at the middle drive line, the middle entry point of that corner. And now around the oval they go. Looking a little bit further back, let's go to Funtang here in 7th position. He's still back behind DOR Nomad, who made a pass about a lap and a half ago. I have a few questions regarding your instant replay cams as someone who also attempts race broadcasting. Yeah, so I had to look it up myself, but basically OBS has a record feature, and then you set it up in such a way that it generates a file name, and that file name stays the same. And so you have to set up a scene where it is pulling that file name every time you want to go to your instant replay. So I've got the replay buffer rolling on OBS. That's key. You got to have that replay buffer going on. That way, when I press the magic key, it goes ahead. It goes ahead and captures the last 30 seconds of the broadcast, and then I run it back through the instant replay scene. Feel free to reach out to me, either on Twitter. I'm trying to think out of where else, but at Virtual Autosports or at VRTL Autosports on Twitter. I'll be happy to provide a little bit more detail. But yeah, I had to look it up myself because replay was a feature that I was really, really looking for here on the broadcast. And fortunately was able to make it happen. And oh no, we've got that loading screen. The feared loading screen. All right, looking ahead, it's Crimson still out in front with AMS Storm. Let's go to AMS Storm, who's there in 2nd after getting around Huracan. Those guys are still 1 and 2, haven't had any change of position since. Huracan in 3rd, Kratrum in 4th, Audrex in 5th, kind of all on his lonesome right now. Nomad, Funtang, and Born as Ghost. Let's go to Born as Ghost. They're in 8th position. Oh, and now is Born as Ghost off the track, and there you can see struggling to get that RS500 back out onto the asphalt. Just does it before Slipstream was able to catch up to him. Back down that infield straight they go. Let's go to Slipstream in 9th position. Born as Ghost out in front of him. Yeah, it's a tricky thing, the instant replay, but I love it. In racing, it's like a must. It's a must-have. And although it's not as sophisticated as something like the FRC and how they do their instant replays, it is sufficient here for Virtual Autosports. And slow motion fire off the track there into the tire wall, head first. And actually, it looks like he might have just parked it over there. Perhaps some real-world need has him stepping away from the controller for a second. Funtang there in 7th position. Born as Ghost, Slipstream, T-Phrase. Look a little bit further back. LSEM Fox there in 11th position. He's got Celtic Warrior on his tail in 12th. Lucas in 13th. 14th is Joe Beardy. Fear the Fun, Weiss Lancelot, Modern Weapon, Slow Motion Fire are the 18 drivers of the 20, I believe, who started this race. So it looks like Presto's, Besto, and Wolf both with a DNF there. That's what we saw with the loading screen. And it looks like AMS Storm maybe closing in on Crimson a little bit. And sure enough, look at that. Right on the back side. And it looks like they're going to go too wide into the corner. Storm to the outside. Crimson on the inside. And Crimson is going to go ahead and keep the top spot, at least for now, as they head back out on the oval. Oh, Slow-Mo had his race dampened by the rain. But and coming out of turn 4 here on the oval, they go across the line for the beginning of lap number 8 of 21 here in our first race of the evening. Bernese Alps will be race number 2. Great to have you all here. I can't say it enough. Greatly appreciated. I'm Dustin Moore on the call here tonight. And there goes Storm to the inside. Crimson, is he going to have to give it up? Well, Crimson is on the inside here through turn 3 and then 4. They're going to go side by side down the straightaway. It looks like it's going to be Storm who has the advantage, at least for now. And then it's Crimson to the inside here at 5. Look at this. Very strong, very competitive racing. And the more that Storm and Crimson duke it out, the more they're giving a chance for Huracan to catch back up. We'll see if that plays out here in the remaining half of this race. Here comes Storm now diving into the inside. Crimson's going to try to do the switcheroo. Gets on the back bumper there of Storm. A little bit of sparks flying here in the rain out at Homestead, Miami. This rain expected to go the entirety of the race, so the drivers are going to have to deal with this wet tarmac conditions all the way through. It's not going to let up even as we get to the end of the race. You can see Huracan maybe a second or two behind coming through the oval. And now across the line, side by side. Crimson's going to take that outside line. You got to have a lot of trust in that driver on the inside, and now they switch it up here into turn number 2. It's going to be Crimson now to the inside with Storm on the outside. So whereas these two had opposite positioning last time through, now it's Storm who's going to grab the low line, Crimson on the high line, and he has no choice but to drop back onto the rear bumper of Storm. And wouldn't you know it, we're going to go back to third position. It's Huracan. Not quite hurricane conditions here out at Homestead, but Huracan has gotten to grips with the RS500, that 363 horsepower. It's got a race intake with a race exhaust and camshaft, street pistons and compression, sport turbo, race brakes. As we see Storm now getting out in front of Crimson. Got that spray coming off the rooster tail. Race brakes, race springs and dampers, race front and rear sway bars, the race chassis reinforcement and roll cage, race weight reduction, race clutch, differential, and the race tire compound. And there goes Storm to the outside. That's going to allow Crimson to take back number 1, P1, with Huracan here in P2. And it looks like Cratrim has indeed grabbed P3 with Storm falling back 2 spots. Make that 3 spots to 4th. Flip Mode saying this is really good racing. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, man. I am astounded by the level of competition that FM4 has seen here in the last couple of seasons. It's been prevalent throughout the Forza Specs Racing League over the years, but especially so here in Season 30 and in Season 31 as we ride along here with Cratrim in 3rd. And it looks like maybe Huracan went a little bit wide there into 5 or 6 as they head back out onto the oval again. Let's go back to Huracan's view, see what it looks like with the 3 cars out in front of them now at this point. AMS tending to the infield grass, yes. Not making the landscapers happy. Cratrim a little bit high. And Huracan, as he keeps the foot on the accelerator, his car is going to trend upward. And across the line they go for the beginning of lap 11. Audrex all by himself. Oh no, there's the loading screen. Futang in 6th. Nomad in 7th. As we see Audrex. Let's go back. Let's see, Huracan. They're in 2nd position, back behind Crimson. This would bode well for Crimson in terms of points if he's able to eke out a win here. Especially with Mesosphere not out there on the track. And here in the pit lane, the Twitch chat, as it's otherwise known in the Twitch world, and is that Slow Motion Fire getting off the track once again? Can't quite make out at this point. That is going to be 17th position of Born as Ghost, who runs wide there into turn 6, perhaps making way for the lead lap traffic. You want to race here in the Forza Spec Racing Series? Do exactly what you just saw Born as Ghost there do. It doesn't matter your skill level. If you love racing and you can race clean, join these folks on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, for 2 races each evening, complete with qualifying. and build your skill up over time. It doesn't matter if you're fast or if you're slow. Somebody has to finish first. Somebody has to finish last. Find yourself somebody out there that you closely compete with. Get your skill level up. Move yourself up the grid. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next champion of the Forza Motorsport Spec Racing Series. Reddit.com/r/FM4. The link being dropped in there by Nightbot. It's been a good one so far. We've had about 4 or 5 lead changes. With AMS Storm, I believe, who was out on pole position with Crimson opposite of him. Then it was Huracan and Cratrium. Then Crimson moved up into the lead spot. Storm took it back. Storm fell off the track. Huracan moved up. Then Huracan went off the track as well. And that's brought us to where you see it now. And there goes Huracan to the inside. What a move on Crimson. And Crimson looks to take it back. His car getting a little bit wobbly, a little squirrely coming back onto the oval. And now down the back straight they come. Crimson, Huracan, side by side, door panel to door panel, wheel to wheel, around the oval. And if you haven't raced in a video game with a controller, you may not appreciate how tricky it can be going side by side with those thumbsticks. It takes a lot of precision, a lot of control, and especially here in the rain, to keep it clean and to keep it honest and not run your opponent out wide. And there goes Huracan now to the inside here through turn number 2 as he reclaims the top spot. Here comes Crimson right on the hills. You see the glow of the brake lamps there on Crimson's front bumper, as now they go down the infield straightaway. As we take a look at the instant replay, the shenanigans, the fun between Crimson and Huracan here on lap number 12. That was lap 12 at the time. Now here on lap 13. Mesosphere saying awesome racing tonight. That's the succinct, precise description of what's going out here on the track, for sure. No question. Huracan out in front. Crimson in second. Back behind these two, it's Storm in third. Cratrium in fourth. Audrex in fifth. Fuatang is starting to catch up a little bit there with Audrex. Slipstream in seventh. DUR Nomad, they're in eighth position. Chaos Fox has moved up to ninth in the top 10. There you go, Chaos Fox. Celtic Warrior in 10th. Fear the Fun in 11th. He's making his way up through the field after having to start at the back of the grid. Unable to qualify into this one. And here they go into turn number 1 for the 14th time. And it looks like Huracan, maybe he got 2 wheels onto the grass. Slowed up things a bit for himself and for Crimson. Crimson doing a good job avoiding excessive contact. That can be very tricky, especially in these conditions when your opponent out in front of you gets slowed down and you're having to adjust ever so quickly. And now back toward the infield straightaway. Huracan, Crimson, Storm, Cratrium. Mesosphere sinks. Storm's coming back at him. You know it. This, pardon me, this close of racing up toward the front. I was already a little bit not feeling so great coming into this one, but the great racing has built my excitement level up. And man, I can feel my voice wearing out. AMS sandwiching Cratrium here in second position, excuse me, Crimson in second position. Cratrium back there in fourth. Do not rule Storm out yet. 21 laps here out at the Homestead track. 2.28 mile alternate road circuit. Across the line they go, beginning of lap 15. That tire, I told you it's a race compound on all 4 corners. They are 245s 35, a 16-inch rim, those being BBS E55s. Oh, and you can hear the splashing, sloshing through turn 4 and 5. And now, I'm going to go side by side, or almost side by side once again. Very dramatic here in Forza Motorsport 7. The slightest touch of the rear bumper and you get that spark effect. And now you see just the spray coming off the cars here on that second infield straight. Into the corner where they've had such great battling side by side. It continues here again. And there you see Storm in the background. And I think we're back. My apologies. I don't know what to say. It's got to be with my connection to the Twitch server because as you can see, I'm very much in the lobby. Haven't dropped out of the Forza lobby at all. My connection with the Twitch servers is something special, and it usually happens once a broadcast, and I hate that it does. Huracan went off the track once again into turn number 2. We'll take a look at that here at the Virtual Auto Sports Instant Replay. The Instant Replay saving us, bringing us coverage there of Huracan getting back off the track. He finds himself currently in third, with Cratrim here in fourth. In second is AMS Storm, and Crimson out in front. Audrex in fifth. He's not threatening the top 4 at this point, but instead he's got Funtang right behind him as they come through turn 2. Now up to 3. And there goes Audrex to the inside line. Funtang to the outside, side by side. It's going to be Funtang moving up a spot into 5th. Back up to 2nd with AMS Storm. And it looks like they've got Born as Ghost, 17th position, up ahead of them as they go into turn number 1 and 2. And then they've got a couple more cars. That's going to be 16th of Born as Ghost. I'll make that 17th of Born as Ghost. 16th is T-Phrase. So we'll see how that impacts the race here on the last 4 laps. Mesosphere saying need Crimson to win. That way it's 3 winners in 3 races. 3 different winners across the first 3 races. And here they come, sliding it out of turn number 6 or 7. I had to get my track map out here. I totally forgot it. It's probably sitting over there on the printer. Way to go. There comes Storm, now to the inside once again of Crimson. That's not the first time we've seen AMS guys make that move on Crimson, but Crimson sticking to his line, able to carry a lot more momentum and get back out on the oval in front. And that's exactly what he does there. And so we'll see what happens here as they come back up toward the start-finish line. Crimson, Storm, Huracan, Cratrim. And Huracan coming back into the picture. This is going to be one exciting finish, folks. Do not step away. And Born as Ghost, only about a 1-second car gap between he and lead lap traffic. It's getting a little precarious. These track conditions coupled with the grouping of back markers You hate to see it play a role in the race, but it's all part of racing. It's something that drivers who are this good, they've got to contend with. And you got to choose wisely when you decide to try to make a move here on the traffic, and it might be just perfectly timed here that Crimson and Storm may be able to get around the lap traffic, although the lap traffic, they too are keeping their foot down on the pedal. And actually, there goes Born as Ghost up into the what look like. He's going to allow Crimson and Storm to get by unimpeded. And now into turn number 1 here on lap 20. 2 laps to go. Looked like Huracan maybe onto the back bumper there of Born as Ghost. There goes slow motion fire in the Chia Pet car. Going to give Crimson some room to run to the inside line. There you see Storm dropping back a little bit. Slow going to go ahead and let Storm on up here into the corner, and there's T-Phrase, and here comes Storm. A little heavy, getting onto the brakes, able to avoid the collision there, and he finds himself right back onto the back bumper of Crimson. They've got 1 lap next time by the flag stand. Storm, Huracan, Kratrium, Funtang, Slipstream, Audrex has fallen back to 7th from 5th. And across the line, the white flag waves here at Homestead, Miami, week number 2, race number 3 of the season, our first tonight. Oh, and we've got one of the cars, it looks like one of the back markers of, oh, I can't make out who that is. Fortunately, Huracan and Kratrium are able to get through unscathed. Same can't be said for some of those back markers, but now here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4 through the infield. Hop on board here with Huracan. Get a look from his view. And now back up a Huracan into the left-hander. They'll have a couple more here on the oval, but it looks like Crimson's going to be able to hold him off. So barring any sort of disaster here on the back straightaway and into the corners, Crimson should be able to secure the win here, making it 3 different winners through the first 3 races. And that's exactly how this one will end. Crimson in first, Storm in second, Huracan in third, Kratrium in fourth. Let's go back to ninth with Celtic Warrior, who is trying to make a run here at LSEM Chaos Fox. Gotta love the Texaco livery. And Chaos Fox looking to be in good shape to grab himself a top 10 finish. There's Celtic back there in ninth. It's going to be Funtang in fifth, Slipstream in sixth, Nomad across the line in seventh. There you see there Chaos Fox, then Celtic Warrior. 10th is Fear the Fun. 11th, let's go back to Weiss Lancelot here in 13th. He's sandwiched between Joe Beardy and Modern Weapon. And everything looking tidy there. So that's how those 3 will finish. 12th, 13th, and 14th. Audrex showing 15th? Did Audrex get off the track? Interesting. Very, very interesting. And pardon me as I go ahead and take note of where everyone finished out here tonight. Again, that's Crimson getting the win here. for our first race of the evening, followed by Emma Storm. Huracan. Chaos saying, I'll take 8th. There you go, Chaos. Great race. Great race. Funtang, Slipstream. I'm going to talk out loud here as I write these down, because usually after the cooldown lap happens, they kind of get a little discombobulated, and of course we won't be able to take a look at the in-race results. Slipstream, and it might get a little iffy here, as it looks like maybe some of the drivers are falling out of the race. So I'm going to go ahead and throw up our overlay there. And drivers, yes, head on over to that Cube for Interview section. Our viewers want to hear from you. I see Fear the Fun in the Discord for FM4 saying, I'm terrible in the rain. Presto's Besto. I tried for a practice lap, Presto, getting a DNF in this one, if I remember correctly. And so hopefully we'll see Presto here in race number 4 of season 31. Heading out to the Bernese Alps, the club circuit, for 22 laps. Oh, you guys, not all of you can be this shy. All right, Slow Motion Fire is going to jump in there. Slow Motion Fire, what's up? We saw you off the track there a little bit. Were there some real-world things to take care of, or was it just that difficult here in the RS500 in the rain?
I had a phone call there that I had to take care of, so that interrupted the middle of my race.
Thought that might have been the case. How chaotic was it out there from your perspective? We saw a lot of the top guys out front, Stormin and Huracan, having trouble into turn number 2. I suspect a couple of other cars went off the track, maybe even yourself.
Yeah, there was a lot of just slipping and sliding out there. Everybody was struggling for traction. These cars in the best of times are hard to put the power down, and just in that greasy, wet track condition, it was tough.
And this being the one race of season 31 where the rain was falling, probably a little bit of a relief that you don't have to contend with it again.
I think for about everybody but Crimson, he seemed to enjoy this race.
And it was.
So I think you'd be happy to do rain races all season.
Yeah. It was Mesosphere, who was the champion of season 31, who picked this RS500. At this point, yes, the rain race may have been a little bit more difficult than the other two that we had there in week number 1, but are you cursing Mesosphere's name with this car, or is it a pretty fair pick?
I actually like the car. It's difficult and rewarding at the same time. There's a lot about it that works, but it's just kind of on a razor's edge, so it keeps you awake.
Okay, and then talking with Slow Motion Fire, the organizer here of the Forza Spec Racing Series. Slow, as we head out to the Bernese Alps, I mentioned to our viewers, this is, at least from what I can recall, the first race that I've spectated of the Forza Spec Racing Series, heading out to that Bernese Alps fictional track. What can we expect out there at that one? A lot of undulation on that track. It's a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, it's going to kind of be the same thing we saw at Homestead there, but quicker. Again, you're flat out at Bernese Alps there, and it's going to be just kind of holding on, trying to maximize that grip as much as you can.
There you go, Slow Motion Fire finishing, out of the top 10, but that's okay. He had to take care of a call, so perhaps this will be the drop week.
10.
What's that?
Yeah, well out of the top 10.
I was trying to be nice. Keep just out of the top 10, somewhere back there. So great talking with you. Best of luck in the qualifying session out here at the Bernese Alps, and we'll see how you do out there.
Thank you.
All right, and I see there in the driver's spotlight, that Q for interview section, Crimson, our race winner. Crimson, that was one hell of a race, a battle that you had with the AMS crew. They had a few mistakes that gave you an opportunity to move up. You looked pretty clean and tidy out there on the track. How were you able to keep the RS500 on the roadway?
I have no idea.
Well, Mesosphere was there in the pit lane saying, man, you were looking good there in the rain. The car, as we understand it, is pretty tricky in and of itself without the precipitation, but even more so when it's wet.
Well, the rain makes everything even more intense around here. That's why this was my track pick for the season, and I thought we haven't had rain yet, so let's go ahead and have rain around a Roval.
That's pretty spectacular. You're the one who picks the Homestead
Do I
circuit.
still have you?
Oh, stand by, stand by. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right,
Just a blip.
we're having another little glitch in the matrix there. Um, and hold on there. It looks like somebody's been posting like an outage map there in the Discord channel.
That's affecting UK only.
Gotcha. Yeah, I see it there, and all kinds of weird stuff happening. But we've got you back here, Crimson. So you pick the track, you decide that it's going to be in the rain, and you end up winning the thing. But now we step into the fictional world of the Bernese Alps. What are your thoughts on this circuit?
I'm not optimistic. The car drives pretty horribly around the Alps. It already tends towards understeer, and the way Alps has its weird physics combined with its off-camber corners just amplifies that. So it's going to be iffy. I would expect some issues in that long sweeper that is technically turn 3, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pretty nasty tire wall to the outside there that will spit cars back into the racing line.
We didn't see it necessarily at Homestead because I think it was Lucas who had alluded to the fact that there's a lot of runoff space out at Homestead. Not the case here at the Bernese Alps. So perhaps are you planning to see some damaged cars out there that you're going to have to deal with? And then, of course, as they maybe emerge from pit lane?
Definitely. Like I said, I'm just going to try to keep the car clean.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to hope for the best. If the week I win a race turns out to be the drop week, so be it. That's the nature of this sort of racing. People are getting outside their comfort zones with cars they haven't necessarily driven a lot before, and I've never driven this car before this season, so...
Yeah, well, I haven't either. Of course, I'm not as into the competitive world as you all, the drivers. So I'm probably out of the loop on a lot of these cars. But congratulations on the win out there at Homestead. Crimson will mix it up out here at the Bernese Alps. And that's the tricky thing, as Crimson just mentioned, is that you can go from winning one race to having a terrible outcome the second race, and this might end up being your drop week. And so before we get ready for that qualifying session out there at the Bernese Alps, let's go ahead and chat with LSCM Chaos Fox. Chaos Fox, what's going on, man? I saw there on Twitter, I think maybe you can correct me, but it seemed like maybe you were like going to step away from the Forza world for a little bit, and now you're back in the thick of it.
Yeah, I was going to step away for a little bit, and then I realized, oh, wait. Yesterday, there is an 8 hours of Monza race coming up, and they just released all the build details, so that brought me in. And then I remembered this race is today, so it's starting tomorrow. I'm going to take a little break from everything.
There you go. There you go. I like the attitude of like, hey, that racing looks really, really cool. Let me get back into it. A change of heart and returning out here on the track. And, of course, we love to see you out here. Able to get a top 10 finish out there at Homestead. Kudos. Yeah. What's it going to take to do the same here at Bernese?
I'm not too sure. I was readjusting my car when we were practicing earlier. This car has heavy understeer on these really, really wide sweepers and off-camber turns, but I think I got a decent setup on it. I'm not too hopeful, but I'm kind of looking for maybe another top 10. I'm trying to hold on to 8th. 8th seems to be my lucky number here, and I'm going to shoot for that and if I do better, then I do better. But this is going to be an interesting track. Especially if other cars don't have the right kind of setup on it, because these cars will understeer terribly.
Yeah, and actually that was going to be my next question. We go from the Roval of Homestead now out here to the Bernese track, which, as I mentioned, has a lot of undulation to it. You're going up and down quite a bit here. So you've done some adjustments to the setup. It sounds like.
Yes. Yeah, I did some adjustments. I was able to get a little bit of the understeer out of the car. But understeer is still a problem when you're going to be overdriving the car, and I know that's going to happen when I'm in a pack of cars, and I know that's going to happen with everyone else. But I don't know how everyone else has their car set up, but it's going to be exciting.
Going to be exciting indeed. LSEM Chaos Fox, thank you very much for chatting here in the driver's spotlight. Best of luck in qualifying.
Thank you.
All right, so there you go, folks. A little preview of our second race of the evening here on Tuesday. We'll be back at it again on next Tuesday, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, as I'm going to go ahead and throw that schedule back up on there, because this going into the holiday season is a little bit different from what you would normally expect from the series, in that we're going to be taking a couple of weeks off, picking back up with week number 4 there on January 7th out at Maple Valley, the full track, followed by Sebring Short, and then week 5, that final week, it's double the points in race number 9 out at the Silverstone National Circuit for 76 laps. Going to be a lot of fun, and we'll go ahead and throw things back over here to the screen for Forza Motorsport 7, whether you've got it on the Xbox One or the PC. Jump in here and have some fun with the Forza Spec Racing Series, reddit.com/r/FM4. And looks like everything's loaded up. Get you the audio back in here. This race just didn't have as many accidents as the Neon on the Nürburgring, but it was still a lot. Well, to be fair, Flying Evo, the Nürburgring race was on the Nordschleife. So Nürburgring and Homestead, kind of a little bit of a different beast between the two. But here we go, qualifying for race number 2, our final race of the evening. T-Phrase there in the Oral B, the big-time tooth guy. Yeah, going back a couple of seasons where I dubbed him the big-time tooth guy for bearing this Oral B livery on his, I'm trying to recall what the car was at the time. I was questioning his choice of sponsor, the Oral B sponsor, and the best thing that I could come up with is that maybe he's a big time tooth guy. What does that mean? I don't know. And perhaps he still is. He hasn't told us whether or not he's got a full grill of pearly whites, and therefore he's making his dentist proud, going all out with a toothbrush and here in Forza Motorsport 7 as we get around the club circuit of the Bernese Alps. It's a 2.52, a 2.5 mile, somewhat figure-8 circle, as you see T-Phrase now going over the bridge, crossing over the section that the drivers go into, coming out of the first 3 corners, the first 3 left-handers. As a matter of fact, this track is just riddled with left-handers. You've got 1, 2, maybe 3, if you can consider it, right-handers. There's T-Phrase around, and as we take a look here, Born as Ghost with a 127. Now, granted, that's our out lap, so as drivers come through here on lap number 2, they're going to be setting their best lap on the flying run. But this track, it's going to be tricky. And if you don't set yourself a clean time, you'll find yourself starting at the back of the pack, coming through the lodging section here. Bernese, and no weather to deal with here. No weather to deal with for the rest of the season. Yes, there will be a night race there on January 7th out at Sebring, but no more precipitation. Huracan saying he's starting at the back, not able to get out here for qualifying, that or got booted here during qualifying. It's going to be Kremsen who has the second best time. It's Kraytrim, though, with a 124.9 as we now ride on board here with Chaos Fox. The third quickest time, Audrex with a 126.7. Internet provider decided to push a firmware update. Nice. Good timing. Sarcastically, of course. A reminder, a PSA. Forza Motorsport Forza. And I think earlier I said their Forza Motorsport channel, but now they've converted that to twitch.tv/Forza. That's it. Both here on Twitch and then also known as Forza on Mixer. Hop into those channels tomorrow when they go live for Forza Monthly, which seems to have a little bit of a surprise element to it. Will we learn a little bit about the next motorsport title or whatever it's going to be called? That would be fun. That would be a great way to end 2019, heading into the new year, knowing what to expect. Will we see that? And I've seen some folks speculate that we won't have the next motorsport title until 2021. I find that to be highly unlikely. I think Microsoft is really penning it down for a launch title, especially since it's already gone an extra year out of the traditional cycle. But racing games are just such the perfect platform for demonstrating the capability of a new console. You've got fast-moving subjects, so you got to have environments that are able to move through the environment without a lot of pop-up. And then, of course, Forza has always been known for its graphical fidelity. So I have to imagine it's got to be a launch title. Maybe we'll find out a little bit tomorrow. And then the Horizon 4 update stream is not happening until Friday, so don't expect to see a lot. There may be a few mentions on Horizon 4 tomorrow, but don't expect a lot. That'll happen on Friday. And to get all the times, check the listings, go on over to the Forza Motorsport Twitter handle, @Forza Motorsport. And then also follow me on Twitter, VRTL, that's virtual VRTL Autosports. And do I have that as a command? Not entirely sure. There you go. Sure enough. Huracan saying last to first challenge. Hey, we've seen it before here on Virtual Autosports. I think the one and only driver to do it is SVR Solar. And if Solar's watching, kudos. You still hold that 0 to hero title here on Virtual Autosport. And as I take a look, let's see. Nobody in that queue for interview here prior to our final race of the night. I'll see if maybe somebody jumps in last minute. See if anybody hops in last minute. And as the grid populates, 19 drivers out there on the track, I feel like we had one other driver, so maybe we'll see if somebody's able to hop in here. And has Huracan been able to? Yes, he has. He's in as well. AMS Storm there in the FM4 Discord, not liking this track. And I'm with you. I'm with you, Storm. Ever since this track debuted, I think, back on Forza Motorsport 5, I've not been a fan. Not been a fan at all. Flying Evo said, I did not practice for this track nor tune my car for it, and I'm in big trouble. Again, the beauty of FM4, I can't stress it enough. Even if you don't want to invest a lot of time in tuning and prepping and qualifying and all that, you can still have a whole heck of a lot of fun here with the FM4 crew. Reddit.com/r/FM4. And even though you won't be in the running for the championship here in season number 31, now having gone through the first 2 weeks of the season, you can still get out here on the track. Let's get a full lobby for week number 3. How about it? A full lobby there for Road Atlanta, which I'm really looking forward to. And then the Indy Brickyard, which is going to be one interesting race in and of itself a week from tonight. That's going to be a curious one to watch. I think it's going to be pedal to the metal the entire way. You might as well just put some duct tape on that trigger and just go wild around the track. All right. Looks like the organizers getting everything set up. My apologies. We didn't look at the qualifying times. I think I could still do that. Nope. I'm sorry. I meant to do it. That's my bad. We'll see how everything looks out there on the grid. And with the changes in the rules and how things are done here in FM4, the pole sitter gets to dictate when the race begins. Yeah, not liking this track. A nice E for everyone translation, yes. Again, we try to keep everything family friendly here on the broadcast because it's racing. You know, there could be a whole variety of folks who are watching, and especially at this hour. It's not too late in some parts of the U.S., and so we like to make sure that we're keeping things nice and clean. Nice and clean. And looks like we're just waiting for Celtic Warrior, Modern Weapon to go ahead and ready up out there. And then we'll get ready for what's going to be 22 laps. You vote for me to be safety car driver? No, you don't want that. You don't want that. I mean, what sadist at turn 10 decided this was a good idea? And they kept the track. They kept the track for 3 iterations, for 2 iterations. No, 3. I know there's probably folks who love it, and that's great. I hate it. I do not like the Bernese Alps one bit. Who picked it? We need to know who in FM4 picked this car or this track. And by the way, another fun little game that you could play here in the Forza Spec Racing Series is that once the season has ended and the champion has been crowned and that champion picks a car, well then Slow Motion Fire takes some very obscure shots of the car and posts them up on the Reddit forum for everybody to guess. Those of you who guessed correctly what that car is, then you get to pick which of the tracks gets raced in any one of the 9 races. So that's a fun little game to play. Even if you're not racing in FM4, you could still, I think, play along. I think Slow will accept your guesses. In the danger zone, says Flying Evo. I vote Huracan to be the danger car driver, says Storm. Good to see the AMS guys out here on the track. For those of you who have been longtime viewers of Virtual Autosports, we've had AMS GG Racing, who's no longer with the AMS team, but GG Racing has had a prevalent presence here in Virtual Autosport races, and I'm quite sure we've had a couple of other AMS folks and Alien Motorsports who watched them compete in the Forza Racing Championship here in 2019. I suspect they'll be doing it again in the spring of 2020. Time to die, says Chaos Weave RO3. Whee! It'll be exciting here to turn number 1, that horseshoe. 1 and 2. As you loop around the mountainous circuit of the Bernese Alps, and we'll see that we don't get any driver jumping the gun here on the start. And for those of you who are watching, if you're enjoying the content here on Virtual Autosports, please click that follow button. Lets me know as the broadcaster that you are in fact enjoying your time, and that way if you have your notifications set up, you'll receive that notification every time we go live. But I'll just tell you, every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Here we go. Kick the tires and light the fires, boys and girls. It is race number 4 of the Forza Spec Racing Series, season number 31. It's Cratrim who's off the pole position out in front. You see the advantage that gives you with Crimson and AMS Storm back there about 3 or 4 car lengths. Slipstream in 4th, T-Phrase in 5th, Fear the Fun, Chaos Fox, Audrex, Foontang, and DOR Nomad are in the top 10. And there you go, Cratrim really establishing a dominant presence here in this second race of the evening. Again, that's the advantage that that this new rule here in FM4 presents, is that if you get that quick time during qualifying, you dictate when the race starts, not the game. And the beauty of that too is that it allows us as viewers to see that start, whereas the way things are traditionally, the race gets going and then we show up with the camera. Alrighty, here come the squiggly bits as we ride on the front bumper there of Cratrim, cutting through the woods, and look at that train of cars back behind them, a whole slew of vehicles. Everybody gonna make it through the S's, the chicanes okay? Appears so. Congratulations, well done from front to back. Cratrim in first, Crimson, Storm, Slipstream, T-Phrase, Fear the Fun, Chaos Fox, Nomad, Audrex, Huracan, who's dropped back to 10th. Oh my. Joe Beardy in 11th. Actually, Huracan had to start at the back because he did not get a qualifying time in. Modern Weapon in 12th. Foontang now back to 13th. Presto's Besto in 14th. Bornis Ghost, Weiss Lancelot, Celtic Warrior, Lucas, and Slow Motion Fire. All 19 drivers out here on the track. Let's go ahead and look a little bit further back behind Craterim here. Let's go to 4th with CMD Slipstream looking to have a bit of a better finish here in Season 31. I think this is the first time that we've seen Slipstream in the top 5, although I could be wrong. Ben McKenna saying, remember drivers, the rubber side down. Yeah, everybody's doing a magnificent job from what I can tell. Well done. You just never know at these fictional circuits. Some folks, they like to put a lot more emphasis and training in the real world circuits because some of the leagues, that's where they tend to go, or the real world tracks. And so sometimes some of these fictional tracks go under the radar, and then you show up in FM4 and they say, hey, we're going to race Bernese Alps, and you're like, man, I haven't been out there in ages. Everybody doing quite a great job. And actually, we've got now a car who's well off the pace. It's going to be Joe Beardy, unfortunately. There in 19th position, and oh no. As we take a look at his vehicle damage, yes, severe vehicle damage to the aero. And it looks like he may be able to bring that car all the way back around. We've got Presto is Besto into pit lane. You hate to see it. Let's go to T-Phrase. Look at T-Phrase up to 5th spot, back behind Slipstream, up under the guardrail a little bit. Oh, look at how that slows you down. Ghibli Jib saying the squiggly bits are my favorite part. Don't get complacent around that area. No. And you can carry a lot of speed in there, but yeah, the slightest loss or lapse in concentration could potentially put you in a position much like where we see Joe Beardy having to go into pit lane there here on lap number 2 for him, 3 for all the other drivers here on the lead lap. And as T-Phrase cutting through the woods here back behind Slipstream. It remains to be, well, actually, check that. It's Cratrium who is out in front, getting around Crimson for the lead as they cross the line for the start of lap number 4. And here comes Storm. They're in 3rd. And it looks like, well, I thought maybe we had a, yeah, we actually do. That is going to be Joe Beardy, who is up there amongst the lead lap cars, and he's just going to see everybody go by as we ride on the hood here of Slipstream at 4th. So the field's starting to break up a little bit, as you would expect. Huracan now up to 6th position. Let's go to Huracan's car. Oh, Flying Evo giving us an update there in the Twitch chat saying someone wrecked and I got caught, left front side collapsed. And a track like this where you really have nowhere to go, there's not a lot of escape points here at Bernese Alps. You get caught up in somebody else's carnage pretty darn quickly. T-Phrase. Look at T-Phrase go. A little bit of camber here on this final sweeping left-hander back toward the start-finish line as you roll down the hill. And it looks like T-Phrase is going to be able to carry enough momentum. He does. He gets around Slipstream, heading into turn number 1. Can he hold it? Big-time tooth guy. Well, he's going to push it out wide, giving just enough room for Slipstream to stay on his outside, and they'll go side by side. Into turn 3, now 4 and 5. And look at that, Huracan making a push. And Huracan gonna make a double pass. Can he do it? He's got Slipstream in his rearview mirror, now trying to get around T-Phrase. T-Phrase won't go down easily. But there you go, Huracan completing the double pass for 4th position, all the way up to the, nearing the front, searching for a top 3 finish after being at the back, unable to post a qualifying time. No doubt, Hard Charger award there. Let's go back up to 2nd with Cratrium. Ben McKenna saying, got a root for Huracan. Cratrium now back behind Crimson. Crimson reclaiming the lead. It's a beautiful, beautiful environment. I gotta give it that. I just don't necessarily care for the layout. Like Crimson said during our driver spotlight interview, it is full speed around here. It looks like very few braking points. And now Crimson establishing a 1.5 car lead here on Cratrium. Let's go back to 6th with DOR Nomad. He's got T-Phrase out in front of him in 5th. You see Huracan there up ahead. Huracan making that double pass on T-Phrase and Slipstream not too long ago. Slipstream has now fallen back to 7th. And here comes Nomad to the inside. At least he's going to peek here on T-Phrase. T-Phrase ran wide through the final left-hander. Back down the hill, across the line, beginning of lap 7. This track seems like it's built to eat cars up. Well, it definitely eats my car up. I don't know that I've posted a clean lap here at Bernese, but it's probably a lot slower than I would like. This downhill section usually catches me, whether you go to the left or to the right here at the fork. Gets me almost every time, as we see DOR Nomad making a run here for 5th. Funes, F-U-N-E-S. Perhaps I'm not breaking that up enough there, but Funes, thank you very much for that follow. Greatly appreciated. I hope you're enjoying your time here, and I suspect you are, but I'd like to say hello there in the chat. Yeah, there you go. It debuted in Forza Motorsport 4. Prague was meant for the new gen. That's right. That's what it was. Prague came in Forza Motorsport 5 and was kind of the hero track for the debut or the announcement of the title, and it was Alps that was back there in Forza Motorsport 4. Oh my gosh. Let's return to Cratrium. Crimson and Cratrium. They don't have the AMS boys around to harass them, at least not for now. Huracan back there by a good 2 or 3 seconds. AMS Storm in 4th. Nomad in 5th. T-Phrase in 6th. Slipstream is 7th. 8th is Chaos Fox. He said 8 is his magic number, seemingly, and wouldn't you know it, that's where he finds himself. Modern Weapon in 9th. Slow Motion Fire in 10th. Born as Ghost is 11th. Celtic Warrior in 12th. Weiss Lancelot in 13th. Presto's Besto in 14th. Funtang, Lucas are 15th and 16th. Audrex, Fear the Fun, Joe Beardy are 17th through 19th. Funes Mori, is that correct? Crimson on the low line. And here comes Cratrium. He's going to peek. to the inside, but Krebsen closing the door, keeping him from making a move, at least for now. Nailed it. Thank you, Ben. I see it now. Funes Mori OG. The original gangsta Funes. Cratrium right there behind Crimson. If these guys can keep pace and establish that separation on AMS, Huracan, and Storm, who are 3rd and 4th, this will really make the leaderboard interesting heading into week number 3. Now, granted, here in week number 2, once Slow Motion Fire does the standings, you'll have that drop week between week 1 or 2, meaning there's not going to be any accumulation in points between this week and the last week, but instead, whichever week was their best this week or last week, that's what will set them up on the leaderboard. Then things get interesting in 3, 4, and 5, because that's when we start accumulating points across the season. Funes saying, can I join? There you go. Nightbot is giving you all the things you need to know, or at least has given you the tools to go to the place where you need to go for the info. Reddit.com/r/FM4. I know Slow Motion Fire would love to see you and anybody else who's interested in participating, regardless of your skill level. As long as you race clean, show up here next Tuesday for week number 3. You won't be in the running for the championship, but get yourself acclimated with how things happen, how things go here in FM4, and then come back in 2020 for season number 32 and have your go at the championship. Even if you're not that quick, well, get in here and have some fun racing with these guys and gals. It's been a great series to watch over the last year or so that I've been broadcasting the FM4 races. AMS Huracan, he does seem to be closing the gap as he comes across the line for the beginning of lap number 11 here of 22. I hope you're having a great start to December as we count down the days. 20 to be exact left in 2019. Think about it. Maybe you don't have to, well, you don't have to post it now, but let's think about it. Between now and next Tuesday, what are your New Year's resolutions? We'll come back to you next Tuesday. We'll ask that question. What are your New Year's resolutions for 2020? Is it become a faster Forza driver? Maybe you want to compete in the Forza Racing Championship. Maybe you have something that is completely unrelated to racing that you want to share with us. Join us next Tuesday starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m., actually 7 p.m. Central, and then 5 p.m. West Coast Pacific Time. Let us know what your New Year's resolution for 2020. What resolution are you going to break? No. You're gonna do it. You're gonna nail it this year or next year, I should say. Let us know. 20 days left in the deck. Yeah, that too, Mateo Max, and there's old Mateo Max joining us there in the Twitch chat, the pit lane we call it. Here comes Huracan. We're gonna keep the camera here on Huracan because as Cratrium and Crimson continue to battle out for first and second, well, they're battling for first, but as they sit there in first and second, it's just allowing Huracan to close in ever so slightly. And this after being at the back of the pack, having not posted a qualifying time, trying to go from 0 to hero or last to first. Yeah, 20 days left in the decade. Maybe you don't necessarily know what your New Year resolution is going to be for 2020, but maybe there's something that you really want to accomplish in the next decade. Yeah, you're giving yourself plenty of time there, 10 years ahead. What is it that you want to accomplish in the next 10 years if you can't figure out that one thing for 2020 alone? I want to be able to engage with you guys. Come on. Speak up. Let us know. Let's keep it family friendly and keep it largely on topic here, racing, or if I pose a question like that. But let's keep it fun. Let's keep it exciting. Oh no, there goes the loading screen. Hopefully we're not losing somebody, although I fear that may very well be the case. Hate to see it. Let's go ahead and ride on board here with Huracan. What's up there, Dino Dad Shadow? You guys make sure you give Dino Dad Shadow a follow here on Twitch. He's back to the Forza mentality. I saw Dino Dad Shadow posted on Twitter saying, hey, you know, I think I'm going to go back to a lot of Forza content. So if you're looking for that, if you're craving that throughout the week, make sure you give that guy a follow because great stuff. He often teams up, or at least teams up with Matt661 Gaming on Tuesdays for touring. Well, I don't know. Do you guys do Touring Car Tuesdays? I think you guys participate in that. Here comes Huracan now into the inside of Cratrium. New Year's resolution number 2. Take down Dino Dad Shadow's rival time, says Mateo Max. That's just resolution number 2. He's gonna hold number 1 as a secret from us right now. And there goes Huracan making the pass on Cratrium. Wow. Resolution number 3, attend a real race day. You know what? Mateo Max, I'm with you on that one. I haven't been to a racing event in quite some time. I'm not too far away from Austin and the Circuit of the Americas. I need to get out to a race day. Ghibli Jibs, I'd like to get one of those Jaguar F-Types, or Jaguar F-Types. I'd like to find Santa's red Mercedes that he drives in those commercials so you can race him. All right, folks, let's run through the field. We've got Crimson out in front, at least for now. We're going to continue to ride, or at least have the camera here on Huracan, who has moved up to second with Cratrium back behind him in third. Again, that's after Huracan had to start at the back of the pack. So very interesting and exciting stuff happening here in race number 2 of the night, race number 4 in the season. AMS Storm, they're in 4th position. Then quite a way back behind him, because Storm is all by himself, is Nomad in 5th, T-Phrase in 6th, Slipstream in 7th, Slow Motion Fire in 8th, Modern Weapon in 9th, Born as Ghost having quite a run there in 10th position. Chaos Fox unfortunately dropping back 3 spots to 11th. Weiss Lancelot in 12th. Celtic Warrior in 13th. Fuentang not having a good run here at Bernese Alps in 14th position. He's got Presto Esbesto back behind him. Lucas in 16th. Audrex, not a good run either, in 17th. Joe Beardy in 18th, and we lost somebody. Fear the Fun had many crashes on the track, had a game crash on my PC. Big J Bishop not having any luck with the PC here tonight. He is out of the race, it appears. Back down the hill they go for lap 15, and look at Huracan going bold into the inside, able to make a move on Crimson, and at least for now, from last to first, he leads the pack through the lodging section underneath the, what do they call that thing? The ski tram, the ski lift. That's what I'm looking for. What a move that was. Ben McKenna with the PogChamp. You got to capitalize the C, I think it is. Well done. As you see there on the Virtual Autosports Instant Replay, we were riding on board there with Huracan, and then he makes the move in the downhill section through the left-hander. And now across the line, and look at that. About a 5 or 6 car gap. Dino Dad Shadow, I want to get out to an IMSA race at Road America and then Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta someday. That would be fun. That would be fun. I was interested and excited at the idea of going to the Formula One race out at COTA this year, but man, the price tag on them tickets. Woo! Lucas saying he wrecked. Car is just so unstable. And as we see a little bit of separation here, let's look a little bit further back, and oh no, another loading screen. Let's go back to T-Phrase here in 6th. He and Nomad have had quite the battle going on for the last, I don't know, 10 laps or so. Big J Bishop, I'm 2 hours from Sebring and 3 hours from Daytona. Oh, and the opening round of IndyCar is in your city. Yeah, Daytona would be a blast. 24 hours of Daytona would be something else, or the Daytona 500. Lap 17 here. Out at the Bernese Alps, it's our second and final race of the evening. And again, we'll pick up things in week number 3, a week from tonight, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, as we'll go out to Road Atlanta, the full track, and then the Indy Brickyard Speedway circuit. The first time that I've broadcasted an FM4 race on the Brickyard. We've been out to the road circuit, the road track, but not the oval. Oh, no, and there goes T-Phrase into the back of Nomad's car, and that's going to send him spinning into the tire wall. And unable to, or, well, actually, he is able to avoid damage, is T-Phrase. Yikes. Well, there you go. That sends T-Phrase back to 7th, Slipstream to 6th now. Let's return to our top 3. Cratrim, who's there in 2nd, back behind Huracan, and Crimson in 3rd. And I know T-Phrase would rather us turn a blind eye to it, but here we go on the Virtual Auto Sports Instant Replay. Makes contact coming down the hill. Spinning into the tires. AMS Storm saying that the tires are gone. Oh no, and Storm now back to 7th. And sure enough, let's take a look at the tire situation for Cratrium. Look at that, 60% there on that front right tire, and that can be attributed to a lot of the left-hand turning, as you put a good chunk of that 2,300 pounds of car onto that front right tire, giving you some of the degradation that you see there. Fighting for grip in every corner. Huracan, Cratrium, Crimson, Nomad, up to 4th, Slipstream, T-Phrase, Storm. Storm has to now hold off Slow Motion Fire, who is there in 8th. Lap 19 of 22 here at the Bernese Alps Club Circuit. 2.5 mile. And actually, this will be the conclusion of lap 19, getting ready for lap 20. Huracan was unable to post a qualifying time. That didn't matter. He now leads the race. Craytrim either being really patient and methodical in his approach on where he might make a final run at Huracan here, or he might just be good with settling for second, trying to eke out every point that he possibly can. It's 50 for first, and I believe it's 47 for second. Unfortunately, I lost track. I lost track of my my track maps, which are, again, I think, sitting on the printer, and then the scoring system. But you can find all that detail over at reddit.com/r/FM4. It includes how things are scored here in FM4. Talks about the car setup and some of the stipulations for participating. Pretty easy to adhere to stipulations, I should say. Nomad now all by himself in fourth. Slipstream and T-Phrase is now the battle, with T-Phrase dropping back to sixth after that incident about 2 laps ago. Storm falling well back to seventh. Slow Motion Fire at eighth. Born as Ghost in ninth. Modern Weapon in 10th. %75% tire wear up in front, as if these cars weren't difficult enough to deal with. The driver's now starting to ask themselves, where did my grip go? Through the lodging section for the 21st time. Next time by will be the white flag. Still plenty of racing left. Huracan, though, has been on point after a few mistakes there at Homestead, running wide through turn number 2 on the road circuit. He's had to have a blistering pace here at Bernese, and it has done well for him. From last to first. White flag flies here at the flag stand. Final lap in this 22-lap race. You see one of our it's Audrex there. He's going to go ahead and pull off to the side. Craytrim looking to the inside through the horseshoe, and now that's going to bring him running. It's going to put him to the outside, running wide there, coming out of the turn. Now they go single file. Huracan, Craytrim. Crimson has fallen off the pace a little bit there by about half a second to a second. Let's see what Craytrim has up his sleeve. Or again, will he just settle for second? Knowing how much degradation there is on the tires, you don't want to make any mistakes and risk giving up points. Nice to see Meza was able to make the races tonight. Meza did not. Meza was watching from the grandstands, and we'll see him back here in week number 3, I hope. And here they go through the twisty bits, the chicanes. Will Craytrim have any chance as they head into the left-hander, the sweeping left-hander? He's just not going to be able to do it. Huracan from last to first, 0 to 0 here in race number 2 of the night, race number 4 of the season. Craytrim in second, Crimson in third. Let's go to fourth. That is Nomad. Well done by Nomad. Able to eke out a top 5 here in this second race. Behind Nomad, T-Phrase, Slipstream. How appropriate. And Slipstream not able to get out in front of T-Phrase. Big time Tooth Guy is going to grab himself a 5th place finish. Slip in 6th. Storm in 7th. Slow in 8th. Let's go to Weiss Lancelot. Nope, not going to be able to make a run on 9th. 9th being Born as Ghost. Let's go to Presto in 12th. Crimson saying the tires were awful. Yeah, we know you're not lying. We took a look at some of the damage stats for the cars, and in upwards of 75%, I think we saw. I don't know if we'll see tire wear like that on any other race. Crazy. Fuatang 11, Presto in 12th, Chaos in 13th, Celtic Warrior in 14th, Modern Weapon, Joe Beardy, Audrex all the way through 17th, and then a couple of DNFs back there. As we wait for the ticker to scroll through that, we'll see who those DNFs were. That'll be Lucas and Fear the Fun. Last to first completed. Well done. All right, drivers. With race 2 of the night in the books, our final one here this evening. Get on over to that queue for interview section before we wind things down for the night. Gotta capture, well, I don't know if capture, I gotta catch my breath here, and then of course my voice. I could feel it, it's going out. Chaos Weave saying that he does not like this track. This track sucks. It says Chaos Weave. You and me, same page. We're on the same dang page. 85% tire wear for Huracan, and maybe I misread that. It may very well have been 85%. I said 75. Perhaps I was shorting it there, the 10%, and if 85 was the case, I mean that's pretty severe grip degradation. And let's see here. Nobody's going to go into the queue for interview. We had how many there at the intermission? This has been fun. These 2 weeks. I know it's the typical like hype man thing to say of like this has been some of the best racing, but really every single season that goes by, it just seems to get better and better and better. And now we go to T-Phrase, Mr. Big Time Tooth Guy, finishing in 5th. Well done, sir.
I mean, it was awesome. It was probably, I did not go into this race expecting much because Homestead was not going to be much either. I honestly was going to skip this week just to use it as my drop week. But my goodness, that last race was so much fun with Nomad. And then I got into him, ran into the tire wall there. So it was on my fault. And then I got to race with Slip there at the end. And it got a little bumpy. He even said at the end, he's like, I should have taken you out. I said, it'd have been okay if you did because I was blocking you like crazy. That was the most fun I've ever had on this game.
That's pretty cool. I was just talking about how maybe I'm exaggerating that the racing keeps getting better and better, but then T-Phrase validating it here in the driver's spotlight, that's saying that this was the most fun that he's had, at least in recent recollection. Now, so we take things from Homestead in the Bernese Alps to something very different. Maybe not so much in Road Atlanta, but then we've got the Indianapolis Brickyard to look forward to there. The second race of our week 3.
I'm excited about Indy.
Yeah. How do you prep?
We had a practice race there, and it was. Can you hear me?
I can. I think we're having a little bit of a cutout, but yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay. Yeah, the Indy race is going to be fun. That's going to be one that you're going to want to tune into because it is. We ran the practice race, and everybody, there was freight trains coming all the way around. Even if you bump into the wall and you can catch the draft, it's just going to be wild, and the finish is going to be wild. And I hope everybody can keep their cool for that one because that one's going to be one of those where you got to have patience, make your move when you can, get your run when you can, and it's really going to see who can oval race and who can't. And luckily for me, I know how to race, so that it might bode well for me. And again, I might do something stupid, finish last. So.
Well, I can't wait to look to see what happens out there at the race. Gosh, if I could talk too. T-Phrase, any last words, any shout outs you want to say here before we wrap things up tonight?
And I appreciate Nomad for racing me clean and, racing hard and then slip again for, not wrecking me and dumping me when he very well could have, because I got a little dirty on him at the end, but all's fair in love and war. So we're all good.
Very good. T-Phrase, good chatting with you. We look forward to seeing you out there next week for week number 3 out at Road Atlanta and Indianapolis. 22 pounds. Thank you for the follow. And Master Kiko, 199 with the follow. Greatly appreciate that. 22 pounds asking, how do you participate in these races? Well, there's the link from Nightbot, reddit.com/r/FM4. Go there. That's all the information you need to know. And we'd love to see you out here on the track. Let's go now to LSEM Chaos Fox, having a word there in the driver spotlight, maybe with some of our other drivers. Chaos Fox, we saw you there in 8th position, which you said was kind of the lucky number. Please bring me up to speed. Where did you finish again?
13th.
13th? Fell back a few spots?
13th or 12th, I forget. I was kind of angry. I want to say around lap 3 or 4. I honestly forget. Fear caught the wall, and Forza Physics, as wonderful as they are, slowed him down, and he decided to pull back out. That's right in front of me, and it destroyed the right front suspension of the car. I didn't want to pit, and that's why I kept falling back and back and back. But the fact that I was able to even hang on to 12th and not just go completely back to the end was, ugh. And on top of that, this is not my strong track, so just not a good race for me at all.
Bernese Alps, not your strong track. After an 8th place finish out there at Homestead, now you have Road Atlanta to look forward to, and the Brickyard Oval. Are those looking a little bit better for you in week 3?
Yes, Road Atlanta, I personally love. I use it as my test track. I know it very, 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 very well, and I can't wait for that one. As for the Oval, I tried a whole bunch of tracks in my spare time, Indy being one of them, and I was actually surprised how it drove. So that'll be interesting.
It will be. T-Fray said it. You said it. I'll say it. I don't know if we could say it enough times. It will be interesting out there at the Oval of the Indianapolis Brickyard. LSCM Chaos Fox. So, of course, we'll see how the points total up, and then we'll see maybe if your luck comes back around to you there in week 3.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully next week will be better than this, and I don't hit any stray cars.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. And so there you go. LSCM Chaos Fox. Great seeing him back out on the track there after maybe a little uncertainty as to whether or not he would return. And then, he's going to see if he can turn that around, although sounding quite indifferent about what next week has in store for it. I see a couple of other drivers there in the driver's spotlight, but let's go ahead and bring in the one who went from last to first, AMS Huracan. That was exciting.
That was brilliant. My hands are very sore after that, but it was a lot of fun.
At what point in the race do you see the tire degradation continue to just trend upward, and you're like, all right, well, I'm cruising through the field, but do you start to get a little bit of doubt that, hey, these tires are wearing out so quickly, there's no way I'm going to be able to catch up with everyone?
Yeah, I got sort of midway through the race, and I brought up the telemetry just to check sort of how my tires were wearing on, and I saw the front right was just getting worse and worse and worse, and I was like, please, this isn't going to do me any justice. But I managed to save it and sort of conserve a little bit.
And so somebody like myself, who, if I were participating in this series, I probably would not have done enough testing to know, hey, these tires are going to wear out toward the end of this race. The front is going to be fighting for grip so hard that I'm going to see myself into 75, 85% territory. Did you already expect that? And was that part of your game plan going into this, even though you weren't able to qualify? You kind of knew what was coming at you.
Yeah, I definitely knew what was coming at me. Obviously, racing last week, I was keeping an eye on the tire degradation. And with Alps having a lot of high-speed corners, it really does sort of wear the tires out on one side.
And then next being Road Atlanta and the Indianapolis Brickyard, a lot of high speeds there. Can we expect maybe more of the same at those two tracks next week?
I definitely think you will.
Wow.
Tire conservation is definitely going to come into next week's races, I think. Definitely the oval for one. If anyone's on a wheel, they might have more of an advantage, I think, obviously with the smoother steering, but we'll have to wait and see.
And just curious, from your perspective, do you consider jumping to a wheel? And I don't know, maybe if you've got one on hand, but do you consider jumping onto a wheel for that one race?
It is very debatable. Obviously, I have my Logitech G920 sat across the room, but I think I'll stay on controller. I like to race on controller more than wheel.
Okay, all righty. Well, Huracan, any shout outs to the AMS crew or anybody that you'd like to hear before the night is done?
I think I'll give a shout out to Storm. Apart from the fact that he didn't qualify on pole like I wanted him to.
Well, great racing by the AMS guys, even though Storm fell back quite a bit after what appears to have been some sort of incident early on the race. AMS, Huracan, great racing out there tonight. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to go bring in Joe Beardy. Joe Beardy, I've been hyping you up, man. You had some great runs there in season 30. Luck maybe not on your side entirely here in season 31, but how are you feeling in the RS 500?
I'm feeling a lot better than the Neon. It's rear-wheel drive, so that's a plus.
Yeah.
No, it's just a matter of getting comfortable to a new car and getting the setups right. And these ones like to break traction quite a bit. So it took a few days to definitely learn this car and learn some of these tracks. But no, this car's been a lot of fun to drive, and it's a lot of fun just, mixing it up with these guys and, yeah, just battling here and there.
Talking with Joe Beardy here in the driver's spotlight, who I believe you've been racing with FM4 for at least the last season and a half. Correct me if I'm wrong, but who is it in this series that you closely compete with? Who do you say, hey, that's my matchup night after night, race after race?
It seems like me and Lucas have kind of had a few good battles here and there. We always seem to find each other on the track. When we were doing some testing too, and it seemed like me and Slip would find each other, but I know it's like I haven't really found my spot where I sit in yet. I don't fully know where all these guys are, so I know these guys are a lot more experienced and have been playing a lot longer than I have, and I've had a hiatus, kind of getting the flow of things back into it. So, I'm giving everyone room, trying not to be too aggressive or, piss anybody off. Mm-hmm. So, no, I don't know yet. I've just found a few guys, but no, it's been good though.
Awesome. Again, talking with Joe Beardy here in the driver's spotlight at the conclusion of week number 2 here in the Forza Spec Racing Series Season 31. Joe, with that being said, we're always looking for drivers to join in on the fun. 22 Pounds was asking about it a little bit ago. Maybe give us a little bit of your background. How long have you been playing Forza, and what encouraged you to race here with FM4, the guys and gals here?
Well, I started clear back on Forza 2 when that was around, and I played that, religiously. I grew up racing go-karts and whatnot, so, I've grown up with a racing background and I love anything motorsport related, and Forza's always been my game, and I was tired of the online hoppers of people getting hack jobs and found this online and was like, sign me up, and it's right up my alley. The Discords, everyone's awesome in there, everyone's funny, everyone's cracking jokes, and it's just stress-free racing that, you just get to have great racing, learn some racecraft that you could, use for playing in the future, or learn stuff for racing back at home if you're into cars, karts, or whatever. I think it's great learning for no matter what you're doing, and it's just a ton of fun for a Tuesday night.
I agree wholeheartedly. Joe Beardy's saying that all the drivers, a lot of great fun, a lot of them funny, except for maybe that Crimson guy. I hear he's really, really super serious. But no, Joe Beardy, all kidding aside, congratulations at least on making it through here week number 2. Hopefully we'll see your name a little bit higher up in the grid here in week number 3. Perhaps those tracks favoring your style a little bit?
Hopefully, yeah. I don't know if I'm going to make all these rounds, so I tagged the wall on lap 2. I was thinking I made it up to P8 or P9 maybe, and I tagged the wall. I knew it was race over, and so I just knew to stay in it, get a few points in case I miss a few rounds. But no, I'm looking forward to Road Atlanta and Indy. The Indy should be a good one, especially in oval. I think that'll be a good tight race, and Sebring Short will be fun, and looking really forward to Silverstone for the endurance race.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a blast. Joe Beardy, thank you so much for joining me here in the driver's spotlight. We do hope to see you next week, even if you miss a few of the other rounds later on.
That's the plan. Appreciate you having us.
All righty, and let's see. The last driver here I see in the driver's spotlight section, Celtic or Celtic Warrior. Which one do you prefer?
Well, it's actually it's Celtic Warrior.
Like it. I like it.
How you doing tonight?
Celtic, and you two are fairly new, or at least in the time that I've been broadcasting the Forza Spec Racing Series. Tell us a little bit about your background and what encouraged you or enticed you to race with these guys and gals.
Well, this is only my second season here.
Yep.
and I actually haven't really played a whole lot of Forza in the past couple of years or anything like that. I picked up the last Horizons game, and then I've been messing around with Forza 7 for long enough to the point where I kind of felt like trying to find a group of people to race around with, and track points and all that good stuff. And yeah, no, I mean, second season, I'm definitely enjoying it. It's definitely something that I'm going to keep doing. So pretty cool.
Awesome. And the one thing that I tell a lot of folks is, regardless of your skill level, get out here and race and maybe hone your skills. Have you seen, granted it's only been 2 seasons, have you seen your abilities incrementally get better?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that always helps, better people is intense competition. And I definitely strive to find people that are really good racers, and try to stick with them and stuff like that. And I do that a lot in my professional career as well. I'm a chef, and you got to surround yourself by better cooks and chefs than you are, so you can learn something and then carry that on to the next thing.
There you go. Uh, and there you guys have it. We're going to have ourselves a holiday feast next Tuesday. Celtic Warriors providing, uh, and then maybe not necessarily everything going right here today. A lot of craziness out there at the Bernese Alps. The Homestead circuit in the rain was a little bit sloshy, and a few cars getting off track. How do you see? We've got one more race in the first half of the season, but how do you see the latter half of the season panning out for you?
Latter half of the season, I think the biggest thing that I can do to try to better myself as far as the points go, just keep practicing on the tracks. Road Atlanta is a course that I really enjoy. The Alps, they absolutely killed me tonight. That's one track that I don't think I'll ever really truly enjoy. Um, but I'm really excited for Road Atlanta. I'm really excited to mess around with the car for Indy, and try to get it to work there. And it'll just be what it is. We'll go out and give it 100%, and can't really ask for anything more than that. So.
Speaking like a true race car driver, I love it. Celtic Warrior, thank you so much for jumping into the driver's spotlight, and we'll see you there in week 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good one.
You too. Whew, man, I tell you what, it was looking a little iffy, like we weren't going to get anybody there in the driver's spotlight, and then they all showed up at once. I love talking with the drivers. So for those of you who are relatively new to FM4, or you're thinking about joining FM4, also thinking about maybe hopping into that queue for interview section in between races and have a word with me. I know our viewers really appreciate it. And it's a great opportunity. I know I say this, and for some of you, you may be thinking, well, gee, Dustin, I mean, there's not that many people here, and it's just a community-based league. But, hey, build your brand a little bit. Let people know what you're all about. Even if you're not the fastest dude out on the track, if you're able to come in here and say, hey, you know what, I had that car all tuned up nicely. I was getting around the track. I was really hitting my points, and then, boom, something happened. That's a lot of great perspective and insight for our viewers, because we can't possibly keep the camera on everybody all throughout the race. So it's nice to know what everybody was experiencing out there on the track at any given time. And then, at the very least, you get a chance to maybe poke fun at your colleagues there on the track, or maybe give a shout out to somebody watching there at home, or one of your teammates in the Twitch chat. There you go. There's the schedule. So week 2 is down. We'll go ahead and gray that out next week. But there you go. The last couple of races for 2020 on December 17th for week 3. We'll first be out at Road Atlanta Full. That I'm excited for. I love the Road Atlanta track. And as we have mentioned here through some of the driver spotlights, plenty of speed opportunity there at that track as well. Not a whole heck of a lot of slowing down. So we may very well see this tire degradation come into play once again. That's a dynamic that we don't often get in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Good to see that one play out here in this season. Really adds another element of strategy. Then it's Indianapolis Brickyard Speedway for 32 laps around the oval. And, you can pretty much, I suspect you can just mash the throttle. Maybe you got to let up a little bit coming off of the straightaway into turn 1 and 3. But maybe you put some tape around that trigger, and you just really finesse be really finesse with the thumbstick as you try to keep it smooth. Those oval tracks, man, every single little slap of the stick to try to keep your car in line can take away a little bit of time, tenths, hundredths of a second, and so you got to possibly use that to your advantage. Will anybody hop onto the wheel? I don't know. We'll have to talk to some of our drivers and find out. Then you see we take that break after Christmas and then New Year's, January 7th, out there at Maple Valley Fold in the Sebring Short Track. Then it's January 14th for the finale, race number 9 out there at Silverstone, the national track, for 76 laps. So much fun. So much fun up ahead. If you didn't get a chance to watch this evening's action in its entirety, hang tight. We'll get the VOD up and running here so that you could pick things up. Of course, if you don't have the opportunity or the time to stick around, you can watch it on demand at any time in the video tabs of this channel. Go to the past broadcast section. Again, I'm Dustin Moore. It's been a fantastic night. So much fun. We've got a lot to look forward to there in week number 3 before we close out the year. And again, my homework to you all, between now and next Tuesday, think about what your 2020 resolution is. If you'd love to share with us, we'd love to hear about it there in the Twitch chat when we meet next time a week from tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here, twitch.tv/virtual autosports. That's going to do it for me, folks. I got to go home and nurse this voice, and I think I got a little bit of a cold going here. So I'm going to do that, make sure that I'm ready to go, not only for next week, but then the holidays. And maybe I'll catch some of you guys in the chat for the Forza stream, the Forza Monthly tomorrow, and then the Horizon update on Friday. If you get any more Forza racing action in, or any racing action whatsoever in the virtual or in the real world, keep it fun, keep it safe, keep it clean. Until next time, peace.